Hello everyone, welcome to Johnny's NetSec YouTube channel. In today's episode, I would like to introduce two open source Bastion server projects. One is Jumpserver, and the second one is Webterminal. As you can see, Jumpserver is the world's first open source Bastion machine and is a professional operation and maintains security audit system that complies with 4A. So this is their GitHub page. It originally is written by Chinese. I translated to English using Google Translate. You can see all the functions. They can do log authentication, MFA, so certification, log review. They have account management function, and also they have control authorization and security auditing, including a video auditing, session auditing. The second Bastion server project is a Webterminal Bastion server. It's written by Django, Python Django. Basically, this project focuses on DevOps and continuous delivery. It supports almost 90% remote management protocol, VNC, SSH, RDP, Telnet, SFTP, and also they also have monitored and recorded user actions. So both of them have open source project, but both of them are open source project, but they also providing a commercial software for the support for the installation. In this video, I'm gonna show you how to install them and how to quick setup and make sure they are working. Mostly will be focused on RDP and SSH. So let's start it. For Jumpserver, I would like to use in a Google platform VM to do a demonstration. There's a minimum requirement for the installation. It's minimum for 2 virtual CPU and 4 GB RAM. So I'm giving a 2 virtual CPU and 7.5 GB RAM for this installation. I'm gonna change it to CentOS 7. Allow HTTP. Both installations are simple, fast. A deployment can be done in 10 minutes. As I said, I'm gonna using Google Cloud Platform VM to demonstrate the Jumpserver, and I'm gonna using Docker to demonstrate a Webterminal installation. So I will do both of them at the same time. So we're gonna using play with Docker to creating an instance for our Webterminal. Let's start with Jumpserver. This is a quick installation guide. I'm gonna translate to English. It's just one quick installation for a Jumpserver. Just one command, and all installation process will be done with this one command. We're gonna go back to our Docker installation for our Webterminal. Both of them support the Docker installation, and just giving each of them for different options to install them. just one command, you can run Webterminal into the Docker. We're gonna pull the Docker images and run on the port 80. So both installation is taking probably 10 minutes to get it done. For Jumpserver, it's taking a little bit longer. For the Docker installation, probably 5 minutes should be able to done. We're gonna keep it running and recording whole installation sessions. Actually, the Docker installation is much faster, as you can see that. It's been completed, let's say just 2 minutes, maybe less than 1 minute. Click that port 80, then we are in. So we got the web page, Webterminal Login page. We need to find out the password and the username, which is listed on their GitHub page. We can successfully log in. As you can see on the left panel, they have some menus here. They have Webterminal. Right now it shows nothing. And it is a notification to say we haven't installed Webterminal SSH helper, and it wants us to download and install it. For this demo, we don't have to do that, so we will keep it as an optional. We will not do it this time. So we can see there's a server list. Of course, you can add the server here. There's credential list. You need to add the credential to remote login to your server, and the server group, and the user list, and also permission list. So we're gonna configure them one by one. We're gonna add the credential, which is for remote login to our SSH server and RDP server, Windows RDP server. So I'm using NetSec SSH password. So for this credential name, I'm naming it NetSec for SSH. Username will be NetSec, and we are using password. This option you also can use in others, like key, SSH key. So this is the first one we did. We're gonna add the second one is our Windows credential for RDP protocol. So here we're gonna make a change to RDP. Submit. So we created two credentials, one for RDP, one for SSH. We also need to create in a server list. We need to create in a RDP server and SSH server. So we're gonna put the Windows RDP1 server host name. We put the Windows RDP1 IP credential. We're gonna choose RDP. Submit. We're gonna add a second one, our Linux server using SSH to log in. Server host name, also Linux server, and we are gonna using a NetSec SSH credential. Okay, so we have two servers, and then we need to create a server group. Let's say this is gonna be 51sec server group. So create one group has those two servers. And next, we need to create a permission list. You also can create in a user list. Normally, you have admin as our user. I don't want to create another one, so we're gonna just using admin as an example. So we need to have a permission to telling the system what admin can use, what admin's permission can do with those servers. So we're gonna add a new permission for admin, and that they can do work on a 51sec list server group, and then they can do common tasks. Submit. We are done that part. We go back to our server list. Now we can see there's two buttons shows up because we granted permission. That means we can do Windows RDP to our Windows RDP server. Let's do connect. We can choose a web RDP or RDP. In a few minutes, I'll also still be able to log in. Let's do reconnect. So the first time the server was busy, we weren't able to log in, but the second time it works fine. That's our Windows server, which is running well there. So we did that. Let's try add SSH for our second server. We're gonna do web SSH. It says we haven't permission to connect to server. We do have permission to do that. I don't know why it shows that we don't have permission. So let's check the permission list. And we put 51sec, server group, submit. And we're gonna check our server group. Make sure. Oh, there's only one server. We need to add another one. That's why we don't have permission. Okay, so now we have two servers permissions right now. So let's go back to server list and to connect again using the web SSH protocol to log in. We logged in. We can see the IP. It's 52.186.127.113. That's basic thing this can do. So they can do RDP, they can do SSH. Another thing I want to mention is recording, as you can see. So our sessions, we did 3 connections, 2 were successful and 1 was failed. So our session has been recorded here. We can replay with it. Let's do replay. That's our second one. We logged in. And the first one, it was getting a busy time. We wasn't able to log in. But everything has been recorded well here. For SSH, we even can see our command. We issue the command curl ifconfig.me, that command, and we also can replay with it. So that's pretty much everything I want to show today for Webterminal. It's great software. It's easy to deploy if you are using Docker, and it's just like a 2 minutes deployment, and it works well. Let's go back to our Jumpserver. It's still deploying. As we can tell from here, they are creating symlink right now. Most likely it will be done soon. So they are installing JMS Coco. They couldn't find the image, and they're gonna download it from remote. Okay, it's finished. As we can see, they installed the two Docker. One is for Guacamole, one is for Coco. We can see that from Docker ps command. The username for login on so we can log in right now. We can use in a local IP to log in, and also of course we're gonna using public IP for our demonstration. The username and password is admin. We already allowed the port 80, so we're gonna give it a try right now. We need to find out the public IP. Okay, so it's opened. There is welcome to the Jumpserver open source fortress. This is the world's first fully open source fortress using the GNU GPL version 2.0 open source protocol. It's based on developer using Python, Django for the Web 2.0 specification. It's similar like Webterminal to do its Webterminal solution. Let's log in right now. Admin. You may want to change the password right away. So the dashboard looks much nicer than the Webterminal we are seeing here. The function-wise, from what I saw before, it's similar. So basically, you can create the users, and then you can create in your asset, which is a server in Webterminal, and then of course you need to grant the permission. It's the same thing. You need to grant the user for permission to use this. And they have system user, admin user. System user is the user you're gonna log into remote. So what I'm going to do is I'm gonna create a system user. I'm gonna call it NetSec SSH. The username gonna be same, and the protocol gonna be SSH. Submit, and we're gonna update it again to put the password in. Okay, submit. And then let me try the second one. It's gonna follow RDP user. Username will be same. The protocol, we're gonna change it to the RDP. Submit. We're gonna make a change for the password. Update the settings. And then we can put in password here. And then we can create asset, which is server. So we will have our WinRTP server 1, IP, platform will be Windows. That is also our public IP. We don't have a domain setup, but we do have RDP protocol supported. We can add a multiple protocol like SSH, and then we can choose that. Admin user, we didn't create that, but we have to. Node, we can put default. Can we to change? No, we need to create the admin user. Let's go back to creating admin user. Create one. Let's call it NetSec. change it to RDP, to NetSec, default is active, yes. This is our first asset. We can create our second asset, which is our Linux SH1. It's IP, it's Linux system, public IP, yes. No domain settings, it's using SSH, still same with admin user, default node, and submit. So both are reachable. After that, we're gonna grant the permission. We need to do asset permission. We need to create it. Let's say admin allow permission. Admin administrator. So we choose administrator. The user group will be default. We then choose asset. Those both asset will be allowed for this user administrator, admin user. Node will be default, system user, SSH, and RDP. So this is important. This telling the system which user, which credential going to be used to log into remote your asset based on your asset type, right? You can set up a time and the expiring date as well, but we will keep it default. There's two servers permission. We have admin permission for the two servers. Now we need to go to our job center. Now sessions. We go to Webterminal. So we launched our Webterminal page. From here we can see we have two servers under the default group. One server is a Linux server, one is Windows server. So if we click Linux SS server, it should be able to automatically connect it to it through the web SSH session. As you can see from here, we already logged in, so we can curl ifconfig me. We can do sudo mode as well. This is the one, and at the same time we can open another window to do the Windows RDP session. It's connecting, perfect. So we are in, and we can go to system to take a look at the system settings here. That's our Windows server. If you finish your connection session, just close the tabs and then close this page, and we can leave the web terminal. What I want to show you is logs here. Let's see what we can see from here. So we have admin login. We don't have any FTP logs. Let's see what kind of operation logs we have. Let's list what we changed on the system settings. You may want to check something else like file manager. It's going to launch you the web session using to manage your files. So we can do Linux session. So we can directly SFTP to your Linux server. You can add a new folder. You can do copy, cut, pretty nice. Here is a recording what we did before. So we did Windows RDP. We also did Linux SSH. So both sessions has been recorded here. So we can replay with them. It's pretty cool. So it's already been recorded what you typed in. They all fully recorded here. You also can download it, save download code. Both servers are running very well. I believe it's very helpful when you set up your cloud data center. They can be your first door to log in to your internal server, which you don't want to expose to the internet. I'm hoping this video can give you some idea how to build your Bastion server based on those open source projects.